we are talking about container gardening. So, a couple of just quick tips and rules for you to know. Container gardening, the way I like to think about it is just this plant is your prisoner in this container, so you need to be cognizant of what you're putting in. Container gardening is really pretty difficult and it's not very forgiving. And what I mean by that is if you put a plant just in the backyard in dirt, it's usually going to just send some roots out and find the stuff that it needs. If it's in a container, it doesn't really have anywhere to go. So you've got to provide it with the stuff that it needs. Most importantly, water and food, just like all of us. So with the containers that I have, I've actually learned the hard way that you usually want to have some sort of watering system. For the first few years, I had a bunch of containers in my backyard and I would just water them every day with the hose. That's a lot of effort. It's a lot of work and it's probably not going to happen. So that's the first thing. Where you locate this container is a really big deal. So that also includes sunlight. So, of course, when you go to the nursery, if you're anything like me, I only look at plants that I think look really cool. And then only secondarily do I look at the thing on the inside to see, oh, what kind of sun does it like? What kind of heat does it like? Is it drought tolerant? Most of the time, especially right now, if you're thinking about doing containers, you're going to want plants that are pretty drought tolerant, unless it's in the shade. But then even if it's in the shade, it's probably being shaded by the house or by another tree. And so then that's going to mean it's going to need to be drought tolerant because it's not going to get enough water, especially in the summertime in Portland. It's not going to get much water at all. If we have a good summer, that is. And so you're going to want to either manage the watering yourself or you're going to want to manage it by having the right plants that can tolerate having a couple of days with no water. The other thing that's great about watching where the sun goes on your property, and this is something you should do with gardening just in general, depending. So in the summer, our sun comes from the southwest, and in the winter it comes from the it's kind of like a little bit less southwest. So you're going to want to look specific to your property where exactly the sun's coming from, because in one lot that's just 50 by 100 square feet, that's a typical lot in Portland, you're going to have parts that have all shade, all hot sun, rain. I mean, like you could take a 50 by 100 lot and have 4 different zones in it depending on where the sun hits and for how long. So you really want to pay attention to that before you put a container somewhere, because if it's a big container, it's going to be hard to move. So something to consider. Then obviously the container size is going to matter. Now, a lot of people, and myself included, love the big containers because they look amazing. They look architectural and they lend some structure to your backyard composition. So those are amazing. Of course, you want to make sure that you have the right plant for it. So if I have a baby little 4-inch plant in a big container, it actually hinders the growth of the plant because it's just too much space for the plant to take up. So you want to match the space of the container with the size of your plant. So if you're getting a big container, you want to get probably a gallon container plant to fill that container and space. The other big thing, and most containers that you're going to get at the store are going to have holes already drilled in the bottom of them, but I've seen people do really cool stuff like like water troughs, or stuff that you use for farm animals to water them. Like those things are really cool to use as containers, but they weren't intended as plant containers. So you have to make sure you have holes in the bottom of them, and you can drill it with just a regular old drill, but you're going to need probably at least an inch hole in the bottom for good drainage, because if that plant has a bunch of water sitting in it, the roots are going to rot, and you don't want that to happen. And then fertilizer. So there are so many different kinds of fertilizers. There are container specific fertilizers, but I actually like to opt more for plant specific fertilizers. So plants that flower need more of certain things than plants that don't. And if you want to encourage your plant to flower, then you should also fertilize it with stuff that's going to make it flower. So that's kind of the gist of it, but you're going to spend a lot of money on fertilizer that says it's for specific plants like rose food as opposed to just flower food. So bear that in mind when you're looking at the nursery. Most of the numbers, there's going to be 3 numbers on the front. It's nitrogen, phosphorus, and Lordy, I can't remember. I didn't put it in my notes, but they're potash. So those are the 3 things that most plants need to just live and thrive. The numbers correspond to those 3 different minerals, in essence, is what they are, and what specifically each plant needs. So each plant actually likes different things, different combinations of those 3 things. So if you want to get super specific, and let's say you have a container with just 1 plant, you can get really specific, and you could even mix your own fertilizer if you really want to go crazy. I've tried it. It's pretty fun, but it's very labor intensive. Obviously, always save your plant tags. I actually just kind of put them in the container with the plant, because you're going to forget what that plant likes. And it's really nice to have a guide that you can just pull out and look at. Let's see, other things you should know. I'm going to probably do another one of these and just show you what I'm looking at in my garden eventually. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, if you have any questions, let me know. If you don't want to do any of this, I have people that will do containers for you that you can just hire and have them take care of them. So that's also another option, but I like getting my hands dirty. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed all of the information I've thrown at you. And of course, if you have any additional questions, I'm always here for you. Just direct message me or just comment below with any questions you have about this. And I look forward to catching up with you soon. You take care.